Hi everyone, my name is Finsen.
And I'm Cressida.
So we're here to present our assignment for accounting information systems, and it's basically about to find the inefficiencies and the internal control weaknesses through the systems. And the company that we are going to assess is the Jungle Books, which is the book distributor in the North America. So we've divided our tasks into two. So I'm doing the revenue cycle and she's doing the expenditure cycle. So in this first session of video, I'll be presenting the revenue cycle, and after that she'll be presenting the expenditure cycle. So here we go. Okay, so first the revenue cycle is divided into two systems. First is the sales order and the second one is the cash receipt systems. So for the sales order systems, I found out that there are four inefficiencies found in the company. So first is the warehouse clerk records decrease in inventory and sends the goods to the shipping department. So basically he's doing recording and custody, which is not good because it can cause theft and falsification of records. So for example, when there are actually 10 units of books which are ordered from the customers, but the clerk recorded as 15 and he kept the 5, so it's not good for the company. And I think the best way of this is to imply the segregation of duties. So probably the company could take the employee from the warehouse department, so it doesn't require you know extra wages for the employees. So move on to the second one. There are a lot of manual processes here. So because like manual processes could cause time consuming and inconsistency, and it's a high probability of errors. So I think it's better to utilize the technology such as computers, because computer has lower probability of doing errors, so the risk could be minimized. And the third inefficiencies is that there are a lot of hard copies involved in the system, and it's not good because when hard copies are involved in the systems, one day when, for example, the documents are wrecked or teared by the clerk, then there's no backup, and so the clerk need to prepare the documents again, and takes time and it may disrupt the system. So the solution for this is like to build a computer terminal. It's where all departments can access to it, and yeah, I can easily access to it without need to basically meet and transfer the file. So but this terminal is just for the information that are supposed to be shared within the system. So for the private information, it's better for the company to use the passcode, so not all of the workers can access to it. And the fourth inefficiency is the sales representative does too much activities. Because like when they have overload of activities, it may create inefficiency because people cannot give all 100% to all activities. So yeah, and what I found better for this system is, so for example, the sales order are supposed to send the sales order to the warehouse and the shipping clerk. So it's better to pass on the sales order to the warehouse, or let the warehouse pass on the sales order to the shipping clerk. And so now we'll move on to the cash receipt system. The first one is there are too many employees just to receive and open the mails, which are an easy task. So actually we don't need much workforce on it, and besides that it also costs the company for extra wages. So it's better for the company to move the employees to the other departments just to help. Yeah, and the last one is that there is a burden for the accounts receivable clerk and unorganized check, because since the clerk receives and reconciles documents and files, so and besides that the clerk also needs to go to bank, bring the check and deposit slip. So what I found the best is to get a treasurer, which job is to handle the cash and go to the bank, so the accounts receivable clerk will be easier and can do the task more efficiently. So that's all about me. Thank you.
The expenditure cycle of Jungle Books consists of two systems, which are the purchase system and the cash disbursement system. In this video, I will be discussing about the internal control weaknesses and inefficiency of this, as well as the solutions to overcome those problems. Assume Jungle Books use inventory system to measure the current level of inventory, where if the level of inventory has reached the reorder point, it will alert the purchasing agent to reorder from the vendor. Hence, purchase order systems will begin and the cash disbursement system will follow afterwards. Jungle Books use a lot of hard copy documentation when it comes to data sharing between each department. This will lead to inefficiency as producing hard copy documentation will be time consuming and it will incur costs. To overcome this problem, the company can use centralized computer system as the company only needs to input the data once and the other clerks of department can access the information through online. Using hard copy documentation can cause a messy data flow, as it might arise the possibility that one of the clerk might misplace the documentation or accidentally drop the document when it being passed from one department to another department. As a result, when computer system is used, this problem can be solved as computer system provide backup facility routines. Secondly, the indicator in determining whether Jungle Books has effectively achieving the internal control objective is through segregation of duties. The account payable of the company performs two different tasks, such as manually record the liability and prepare the journal voucher as mentioned in the case study. This implies that the clerk is the one who do the reconciling and the recording. In order to prevent the falsification of records, one of the duty performed by the account payable clerk must be detached and let the other employee to do the task. Thirdly, the general ledger clerk receives the journal voucher from the account payable. The clerk only examines the obvious error when updating the general ledger, where ideally the clerk should double check it and examines the journal voucher thoroughly so that it will avoid any mismatch of data and the accuracy of the data can be maintained. Moreover, the general ledger account should be comparable with the purchase order and the invoice from the vendor. If they are non-comparable, then the error might occur. Either it is a logical error or mechanical error. Regarding the cash disbursement systems, the account payable clerk should not discard the invoice as well directly. However, they should keep it in one document since it will be useful for auditing purposes in the future, where the managers or the auditors can follow the path of the transaction from the initial source of the documents, such as the invoice from the vendor, to the final transaction when Jungle Books issuing their checks. By doing auditing, it helps the manager of the company to detect any errors or falsifications that are likely to happen and cannot be detected, such as collusion between the employee. In the cash disbursement system, there is a susceptibility that the cash disbursement clerk will commit a fraud due to the fact that she can identify any payment that seems excessive. For example, the clerk could just have mentioned that the company needs to pay the outnumbered bills, while in reality it does not. Furthermore, she used assumption in checking the checks. Before she signs it, Furthermore, the clerk used assumption in checking the checks before she signs it. This action could arise a problem, as ideally the clerk should have checked the check thoroughly and even double checking before the check is being processed instead of using her assumption. Currently, the cash disbursement clerk plays a major role in the cash disbursement systems, in which it gives the clerk more power or authority in the systems as he has the responsibility to act as an assistant treasurer. This situation creates a huge opportunity for the clerk to commit fraud. Therefore, there should be separation of duties between the clerk and the treasurer. Regarding the invoice, the should keep the invoice and give it to the assistant treasurer so that the assistant treasurer can compare the validity of the copy check and the invoice that the vendor claimed. The updated account payable from the subsidiary. Moreover, the general ledger clerk should directly receive the updated account payable subsidiary ledger from the account payable clerk rather than the cash disbursements clerk, because it will be more efficient to update the general ledger account as there will be no unnecessary movement between data or the flow of data.